These are 25 music production tips I wish I knew when I started to learn how to make better music a lot faster. Number 1. Export your project in 32-bit before mastering, so this way you avoid clipping. Here we have this song we are going to master, and as you can see, for example, here is clipping. As you can see, it gets cut, but it's exported in 32-bit. So if we just reduce the volume, as you can see, boom, nothing is clipping. So this way you can reduce it before mastering and master without any problem. Number 2, focus on EQing before balancing the volumes, because when you EQ something, the perceived loudness can change a lot, and then you're gonna have to adjust the volumes again. We have this snare. If we check it, it's hitting at 0 dB. So when we're mixing with our song, we're going to, I don't know, just thought maybe have it here, minus 3 dBs. But after balancing the volume, we want to EQ it, and we want more brightness. And maybe the punch is a bit too much, I reduce a bit here. If we check now the loudness, is again at 0 dB. It's not a minus 3, so now we need to reduce again to have it at minus 3. So EQ first, balance later. Number 3, move the phase of the bass to have a perfect kick and bass. Have you seen that rhyme? So we have this kick and this bass. Of course, the first thing we need to do is to sidechain, and my advice always is to have a sidechain in the kick to cut the length. Something like this, for example. Now send this to the bass and flip it. If you need, adjust it a bit to your taste. We're going to do this to put this high cut on the master, okay? Around 80, 100, 60 Hz, something like this. This way we only hear the low end. And then we're going to check it with an oscilloscope like the Shaper box. And as you can see, first the bass is moving too much. We don't want this. What we're going to do is go here and remove the random. Completely to 0. Now as you can see, the bass all the time is flat, but what's happening here? We don't want this. The curve in the low end needs to be clean all the time, following the natural curve. Basically, we don't really need to know where the kick is changing to the bass. Right now, we know it's around here, something is happening. What we can do also is remove the bass and check the kick first. We know the kick around here is on the top, as you can see, and the bass kind of at the same place is at the bottom. So they are cancelling. What we're going to do is to touch this phase knob of the bass until the curve is natural. As you can see, it's starting to get better. Get better. And now maybe we went a bit too far. We can check where just the kick is. The kick is here. So we want that peak to be the same place, maybe a bit less. No, a bit more, something like this. This way they kind of enhance each other and they don't cancel. If you have an asymmetric sound like this one, just do a low cut. Number 5, use atmospheric sounds to make your song sound fuller and a lot more interesting. Number 6, get more presence or make your song stand out more while mastering using a multiband compressor. Let's make a band on the mid-highs. Somewhere around here. Change this to expand, click on expert and go to free. Now we have this little bar, move it to the low end. And what this is going to do is that this part we selected is going to trigger how this expands. Of course, now this is still getting reduced, so change the range to positive value around 2 dBs. And as you can see, it's moving with the kick in this case. This is before and after. As you can see, it gets more presence. 7. Always use reference songs when you're making a song, mixing and mastering. Reference songs are just songs in the style of the song you're making that you're gonna add to your project. You can add 2, 3, 4. In this way, when you're producing, you're gonna get ideas from those different tracks. Like, hey, in this track they're using this effect, they're doing this, they have this arrangement, they're using this sound. When you're mixing, you're going to be able to compare those reference songs to yours. So this way it's like, okay, my kick is too loud, this is not bright enough, we need more reverb. And when mastering, you can also do the same thing, so this way you get the same color, the same balance, the same quality of those reference songs that you like and you want to sound like. Number 8, sidechain the reverb to the dry signal to get a more clear sound without losing depth. I've explained this a lot of times and you can go and watch this video where I explain this and a lot more tips to get a better reverb. But basically what we're gonna do is when the vocal or the main synth is sounding, the reverb is gonna reduce a little bit the volume, 2, 3, 4 dBs, not more. This way you're gonna make the dry signal to stand out more, but then when it gets muted or that vocal is not singing or the synth is not playing a note, the reverb is gonna come up and it's gonna cover that space, giving the same sense of depth, the same sense of reverb, but with a more clear sound. Number 9, you can make your drum sound longer or shorter with saturation. Let's come back to this snare. And in this case, I'm going to use Saturn. You can use it in different bands, so this way you can make each band longer or shorter depending on your taste. But basically, with the Saturn, first, for example, let's saturate it a little bit, so this way we get a fuller sound. And the trick is this dynamic knob. If I make it higher, longer, and like this, even shorter. As I said, you can do this in different bands. For example, let's say we want to make this part a bit shorter, and this part we want it longer. Now we have it like this. This sounds a bit different than just using a transient processor. Number 10. Save the project bones of your projects in FL Studio when you finish them, so this way later when you're working in other songs, you can reuse the synth, the samples, the mixed channels, or you can even get the MIDIs. 11. When layering leads, instead of panning one lead to the left, the other one to the right, the other one a bit more to the left, and another one a bit more to the right, put all of them in the center and work with the stereo. Make one completely mono, then a bit wider, then another one a bit wider, then one completely wide. This way you will get a more balanced sound. For example, I have these 4 leads. And let's say we do the first option, just pan a bit to the left, pan this one a bit to the right, this one a lot more to the left, and this one a lot more to the right. What's happening here? First, we're losing a bit of a strength in the center. If we take this one, for example, it's quite plucky, quite short, not really noisy, and it doesn't have a lot of high frequencies. But then this one that is like the opposite one, has less attack, has more noise, is a bit longer. So when we're doing this, we're making the left and the right sound way too different and it's not balanced. Instead, what we can do is, for example, this one, that is quite plucky, we can make it quite mono in the center. We have a strength there with attack. Then this one, also quite plucky, we can make it mono, but maybe not that much. Then this one, a bit less mono, and then this one we can keep it complete to the sides. So this way now every sound has the same information in left and right, so this way the left and the right signals sound balanced, but then we have a completely wide and full sound. Number 12. Cut all the breath of the vocals that are not the main vocal, so this way it's not that confusing. I mean, the idea is that all the vocals sound like one, and if they're gonna have different breath at different moments, like it's chaotic. For example, here I have 3 vocal takes. This one has the breath here, the main one, this a bit earlier, and this another one. So as also these are not the main vocals, we can just remove this. We have only one breath. And sounds way more natural. Number 13. Control more the sibilant sound of the side vocals, so this way they don't stand out more than the main vocal. Strong sounds like s can make a vocal stand out a lot, and if this is too strong in the side vocals and harmonies, they can stand out more than the main one, and this is not what you want, so just use a stronger de-esser. Number 14, also for vocals, reducing a bit more in the lower frequencies and the higher frequencies of the side vocals and harmonies can make your main vocal stand out more. Number 15. Give a space to the kick attack by making a really short sidechain in the other drums. Here we have this kick, this ride, as you can see has a strong attack, and this clap that also has a strong attack. So when we have our kick with this attack and we add the ride, the attack is changing and the kick is not cutting through the mix that much. And then when we add the clap, in this second kick it's like we have a lot more attack, and this is not what we want. We want a balanced attack, we want a stable attack on the kick all the time. What we're going to do is take the ride and make a really short sidechain, something like this, and make sure it comes back before the next part, okay? And something like this. Maybe not that much, 70%, something like this. Now it's like, no, but I want the ride like this. Sounds with more attack. Yes, but don't worry, because when we have the kick is gonna cover that lost attack. And do the same with the clap. This without, and this with. the kick sounds clearer, and if you have even more drums, the effect is gonna be even better. Number 16, please don't automate the volume fader of the mixer. It's going to be super annoying to mix your song later. Instead, use a volume plugin like the Fruity Balance, put this at the end of the mixer chain and automate this. 17, the best way to learn how a plugin or a technique works is to exaggerate it to the max. For example, if you want to know how compression works, you can add a snare, take a compressor, reduce the threshold to the minimum, put the ratio to the max, and from there start touching the attack and the release. This way you're going to see the effect that it's doing. What is doing moving the attack, what is doing moving the release. Number 18, make your drops hit harder by reducing slowly 1-2 dBs and increasing a low cut as the build-up is going. What this is gonna do is create contrast between the build-up and the drop. You're gonna have like 2 volume increase and you're gonna add a lot of low end that you didn't have before, so drop is gonna feel louder and fuller. 19, if you want to get really loud songs, what you need to do is to use a clipper before a limiter. Try to clip before you start touching the tag of the kick of your song, and this way then the limiter is going to work less hard. You're going to get louder songs and with a more transparent sound. Number 20, check your mixes in a lot of different sound systems. You can check your songs in the studio speakers, the studio headphones, in a normal earphones, in your phone, in a Bluetooth speaker, in the car. But here comes the tip. Every time you check your song in a different sound system, compare your song to the reference songs you had in that sound system. Otherwise, maybe you listen to your song in the phone and you say, oh, this has too much highs and not enough mids. I'm gonna reduce in the highs and boost in the mids. No, wait, take a reference song. What's happening is not that your song has too much highs and not enough mids. It's that the speaker sounds like this. And when you use a reference song, you're gonna realize about this. So you're not gonna destroy your mix. 21, when you apply a new effect to do a change in your song and you want to compare before and after, do it with your eyes closed. What you're gonna do is close your eyes, click a lot of times in that button to enable and disable the plugin, then play your song and you don't know if it's enabled or disabled. So now click again. You're gonna see the difference and it's gonna be like, I prefer the previous one. Open your eyes and see what it is. Maybe it's enabled or maybe it's disabled. If it's disabled, just remove that plugin. 22, if you want more groove in your songs, try to use the swing knob or move your notes a bit to the left and to the right. I have this bass. And in the terminal rack, we have this knob here that is the swing. If I exaggerate it, what this is going to do is move notes left and right. Of course, this, maybe you like it, I don't know. Maybe like this, good. Has a bit of swing. Or also you can take the notes and just move them a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. So we go from this to this, then maybe you like it more. And you can use the swing also on drums. For example, we have this. And we can take these shakers, for example, the second and the fourth. Usually these ones are the ones that are used. And we can move them a little bit. Number 23, use pitch bends, especially in your bass lines, to make them more interesting. Of course, you can use it also in leads, in pads, in vocals. We have this bass line. For example, what we can do is have a pitch down here to have like a tape stop effect. We can have also one here, maybe a bit shorter, to have like a swing up. Then we can have some in the middle to have a bit of clicky sound or different effect. And then also we can have different movement between notes. If we're going up, maybe you can go up like this. So this way is more interesting. Number 24, for noise transition effects, make sure the uplifter ends a little bit darker than downlifter, and also with a bit less volume. Let me show you. In this case, we're using exactly the same sound, okay? I just took this one, reversed it and put it here. So now the effect is like this. What I like to do is to cut a little bit this, so this way it doesn't end as high as the next one starts. We can reduce a little bit the volume, and then I can use this here, the mod X is like a filter. I reduce it a little bit. What this is gonna do is that this one is not reaching exactly the same high frequencies as this one is starting. It's a bit more quiet, and also because of the filter has less highs. So the change from this to this is gonna have more energy, as you can see. Number 25, but not the last one. I have an extra one. When you master a song, use a match EQ to try to get that extra EQ, that extra touch to get the color of a reference song that you like. I use the also match EQ. I click here on capture, on the apply to, of course. This is my song. I wait a little bit, then I click on the capture for the reference, I play the reference song, I wait kind of the same time. And now if we increase the amount, we see the difference that we need to do in an EQ to get the same color. I like to do it a bit smoother, maybe this is too much, you know, but I need to make my song a bit brighter to sound like the reference song, and just like this. An extra tip is that I realized that, at least at this moment, if you're gonna use a preset that is made in Serum 1, use it in Serum 1. If you use it in Serum 2, it's gonna use a lot more CPU. I hope they solve this in the future. Oh, and last but not least, if you want a mentor that can help you become a better producer a lot faster, you can become a Patreon member. The link is down below in the description. I share 2 tips every single week. I give you extremely detailed feedback. I mean, I spend 30 minutes giving that feedback. You get more than 30 sample packs, 2 sound banks, 4 FOPs, and a lot more. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you.